All right, sorcerers and cursed spirits, settle in. The Culling Games, Kenjaku's twisted ritual to evolve humanity through Jujutsu Kaisen into absolute chaos. We saw an insane roster of players, from ancient reincarnated sorcerers to brand new technique users. With the manga concluded, it's time to look back and rank every single player based on their curse technique, strategic prowess, and overall impact within the games. This isn't just about raw power. It's about how their techniques integrated into the brutal kill or be killed reality of the Culling Games. This is part 1, covering the first half of the roster. Kicking us off at number 19, we have Hanyu. Let's be real, she was essentially just the painful welcoming committee for the Tokyo #1 colony. Hanyu is a modern awakened sorcerer whose curse technique allows her to manifest fighter jet parts on her head, granting her high-speed flight and aerial strikes. Her big moment? She tried to ambush Yuji Itadori while he was literally free-falling into the colony. Her strategy was simple: use gravity and jet-propelled speed to deliver a lethal tackle. The problem is, she tried to tackle Yuji. Despite having the aerial advantage and the element of surprise against a teenager with no active curse technique, Yuji just tanked her supersonic headbutt, grabbed her leg, and hurled her straight into a concrete building, knocking her out cold. She didn't die, but her impact on the games was literally just serving as a hype tool to remind the audience that Yuji's physical durability is absolute nonsense. At number 18, we have Dhruv Lakdawala. He was an ancient sorcerer, reincarnated by Kenjaku. Dhruv's curse technique, Commandment, allowed him to summon and manipulate Shikigami that appear as pairs of black wheels. These wheels left a trail, and if he caught a target within a certain number of interconnected trails, it became a guaranteed hit. It's a technique based on area denial and trapping. We saw him use it against Yuta in Sendai. He managed to trap Yuta briefly, but ultimately his technique was too slow and predictable against a special-grade sorcerer. Yuta, using his speed and raw power, effortlessly evaded his attacks and exorcised him. Dhruv showed decent tactical thinking by trying to box Yuta in, but his technique's speed limitations and Yuta's overwhelming power sealed his fate. Coming in at number 17, we have Reggie Star. Reggie was another reincarnated sorcerer, quite proud of his tactical mind. His cursed technique, contractual recreation, was fascinating. He could turn receipts or contracts into real-world objects, provided he had signed the contract. So, if he had a receipt for a knife, he could summon a knife. This sounds simple, but he could create entire houses, cars, even complex structures. His strategy relied on overwhelming opponents with summoned objects and using traps. His fight with Fushiguro Megumi was a highlight of the Tokyo #1 colony. He used summoned trampolines, cars, and even a house to try and crush Megumi. He also had a tactical move where he filled himself with oil, intending to light it on fire to take Megumi with him. However, Megumi's domain expansion, Chimera Shadow Garden, nullified Reggie's advantage by allowing Megumi to maneuver through his own shadows, making Reggie's summoned objects useless. Reggie was a decent tactician, but his technique required a lot of setup, and his reliance on physical objects made him vulnerable to environmental manipulation. He had 41 points. At number 16, we have Iori Hazanoki, Reggie's loyal subordinate. Iori's curse technique was Explosive Flesh. He could turn any part of his body into an explosive projectile. He would then instantly regenerate the missing limb using reverse curse technique. This is a powerful offensive and defensive technique. Imagine throwing an explosive finger or an arm and then immediately growing it back. This made him incredibly dangerous in close quarters. He used it effectively to keep Megumi on the defensive. However, the limitation is that reverse curse technique consumes a lot of cursed energy. While he had a strong offense, sustained use would drain him. He also primarily fought in support of Reggie, so his individual showing wasn't as strong as some others. He had 35 points, reflecting his role as a strong support. Next up at number 15, we have the comedian, Fumihiko Takaba. Takaba's curse technique, Comedian, is arguably one of the most conceptually broken techniques in the series. It manifests anything Takaba finds funny as reality. If he thinks it's funny that someone can't be hurt, they can't be hurt. If he thinks it's funny that a building disappears, it disappears. The catch? Takaba himself doesn't fully understand or control it consciously. It's an unconscious activation based on his sense of humor. This makes him nearly invincible to lethal attacks if he finds the idea of being hurt unfunny. He survived a direct hit from Kenjaku's gravity manipulation due to this. The downside is his lack of conscious control and his goofy demeanor, which often makes him a liability rather than an asset. He's powerful, yes, but not strategically reliable in a typical fight. Sliding in at number 14, we have Daido Hagane from the Sakurajima colony. Daido is a master swordsman from ancient times. His technique isn't a curse technique in the traditional sense. It's zero cursed energy and mastery of the blade. Like Maki and Toji, he has a heavenly restriction that leaves him with absolutely no cursed energy. In return, his physical capabilities, speed, and senses are honed to an extreme degree. He can see cursed spirits and even see the flow of cursed energy through objects, allowing him to cut anything. He's so precise he can cut a void where cursed energy would gather. He was instrumental in the fight against Naoya Zenin's cursed spirit form. Wielding Maki's split-soul katana, he utterly dominated. His placement here reflects the fact that he's devastating, but requires a weapon to fully utilize his technique, which isn't always available in the Culling games. He gained points through direct elimination. Just above him at number 13, we have Mio Rokujushi. Mio is another ancient sorcerer, and his curse technique is Sumo Domain. He can create a simple domain, essentially a barrier, where the only rule is that participants must engage in a sumo match. The match only ends when one person is pushed out of the ring or yields. Within this domain, all curse techniques are nullified, making it a pure test of physical strength and sumo skill. This is a brilliant technique for someone who wants to take an opponent out of their element and into his. He used it to help Maki regain her focus and confidence during her fight against Naoya. While it has niche utility, it's incredibly effective at what it does: reset the playing field. However, it's not an offensive technique, and if his opponent is physically superior in hand-to-hand, it becomes his downfall. He gained no points, as his goal was not killing. Finally, at number 12 for Part 1, we have Yorozu. Yorozu is another ancient sorcerer, reincarnated into Tsumiki Fushiguro's body. Her curse technique, Construction, is exceptionally versatile. She can manifest liquid metal with her cursed energy, and then construct literally anything from it. She can create perfect spheres, armor that's essentially indestructible to normal attacks, or even a complete replica of the cursed tool, Kamutoke, that Sukuna later wields. She can even use her liquid metal to construct a domain expansion, Threefold Affliction, which essentially traps her opponent in a perfect sphere that crushes them. Strategically, she was a menace. Megumi actually transferred 100 points to her, thinking he was saving his sister from the games. Instead, Yorozu used those 100 points to add a rule allowing colony travel, completely revealing her identity and betrayal before flying off to Sendai to fight Sukuna. Her raw power and engineering with cursed energy are absurd, but her infatuation with Sukuna clouded her judgment. Welcome back to the absolute meat grinder that is the Culling games. In Part 1, we covered the bottom half of our 19-player roster, looking at the weird, the niche, and the tragic. Now, we are entering the territory of monsters. These remaining 11 players are the heavy hitters, the anomalies, and the absolute apex predators of Jujutsu society. From ancient sorcerers seeking a good death to modern prodigies breaking the rules of cursed energy, this is where the survival rate drops to 0. As always, massive manga spoilers ahead, including the Shinjuku Showdown and the series finale. Let's get right back into it. Starting off our top tier at number 11 is the special grade cursed spirit, Kurourushi. While Druve held a quadrant in Sendai, Kurourushi was the chaotic variable. Its technique revolves around parthenogenesis and cockroach manipulation. It controls massive flesh-eating swarms imbued with cursed energy. But the real threat was the festering life sword, a cursed tool that fires insect eggs directly into the opponent's bloodstream, which then hatch and rip out of their flesh. It is disgusting and highly lethal. Kurourushi almost cornered Yuta Okotsu, forcing Yuta to literally bite its face off and pump it full of positive energy to exorcise it. As a cursed spirit, positive energy is fatal, but Kurourushi actually spawned a backup of itself, proving how resilient it is. Ultimately, it was cannon fodder for the real Sendai heavyweights, but it was a nightmare for anyone under special grade. At number 10, we have our main protagonist, Yuji Itadori. For the majority of the Culling games, Yuji fought with a massive handicap. He had no active cursed technique, relying entirely on his superhuman physicals and basic cursed energy reinforcement. Despite this, he survived Tokyo Colony 1, defeated the helicopter head Haba, and held his ground against Higuruma inside a domain that confiscated his energy. Yuji's actual evolution happens later against Sukuna, where he finally manifests shrine and blood manipulation. But ranking him purely on his Culling game performance prior to Shinjuku, his lack of a technique held him back against domain users. However, his unyielding willpower, durability, and raw striking power make him a terrifying brawler who simply refuses to stay down. Coming in at number 9 is Megumi Fushiguro. Megumi's performance in Tokyo Colony 1 was a masterclass in battle IQ. The 10 Shadows technique is already top tier, giving him immense versatility with Shikigami like Divine Dog Totality and Max Elephant. But Megumi's defining moment was his brutal fight against Registar. Cornered in a gymnasium, Megumi unleashed his incomplete domain expansion, Chimera Shadow Garden. Because it lacked a barrier, he used the physical walls of the gym to trap Reggie, flooding the floor with shadows to constantly drag him down and blindside him. Megumi proved he was willing to get his hands dirty, dropping his morals to survive. Unfortunately, his high potential made him a target, leading to his tragic possession by Sukuna, effectively ending his run as a player. At number 8, we hit the Heian-era reincarnations with Takako Uro, former captain of the Sun, Moon, and Stars Assassination Squad. Uro's cursed technique, sky manipulation, is incredibly annoying to fight. She essentially grabs the fabric of space and pulls it, allowing her to fly, redirect attacks, and hit opponents with unblockable force by shattering the spatial plane, an attack called Thin Icebreaker. During the Sendai free-for-all, she was a massive headache for Yuta and Ryu. She excels at evasion and redirection. Her downfall was getting caught in the crossfire of domain expansions and losing an arm to Kurourushi, crippling her technique. But in a one-on-one, Uro's defense is nearly impenetrable. Ranking just above her at number 7 is the man with the pompadour, Ryu Ishigori. Ryu holds the title for the highest cursed energy output in the entire Culling games. His technique is simple. He shoots massive, devastating beams of energy from his hair, called Granite Blast. What makes Ryu terrifying is that his output remains exactly the same whether he uses his cursed technique or not. This means his punches hit like artillery shells, and burning out his technique after a domain expansion barely weakens him. He pushed Yuta to his absolute limits in Sendai, exchanging point-blank blasts and savage hand-to-hand combat. He got the satisfying fight he was looking for, though he later got instantly dispatched by Sukuna. At number 6, we have the prodigy, Hiromi Higuruma. Higuruma is a complete anomaly. A defense attorney who awakened a technique and within 12 days reached the level of a Grade 1 sorcerer. His cursed technique, Deadly Sentencing, starts with a non-lethal domain expansion that forces a trial. If the opponent is found guilty, Higuruma confiscates their cursed technique. For severe crimes, he gets the Executioner's Sword, an instant kill weapon that ignores durability. His fight with Yuji showed his mechanical brilliance, but his later showing against Sukuna solidified his rank. He learned domain amplification and reverse cursed technique on the fly during the fight, something that took others years to master. His lack of experience is his only flaw, but his raw talent rivals Gojo. Breaking into the top 5 is the God of Lightning, Hajime Kashimo. Kashimo is a bloodthirsty brawler from 400 years ago who spent the entire game hunting Sukuna. He possesses a unique cursed energy trait that behaves like electricity. Every hit he lands builds up a charge on his opponent. Once he grounds it, he fires a guaranteed hit lightning bolt that rips off limbs without needing a domain. He pushed Hikari to the brink of death multiple times. His actual cursed technique, Mythical Beast Amber, reconstructs his body using electrical phenomena, making him impossibly fast and lethal. but it literally disintegrates his body after use. He is a walking natural disaster, entirely focused on pure offense. At number 4 is Tokyo High's notorious suspended student, Kinji Hikari. Hikari fights purely on luck and probability. His domain expansion, Idle Death Gamble, is a complex pachinko game. If he hits a jackpot, he gains infinite cursed energy and automatic high-speed reverse cursed technique for 4 minutes and 11 seconds. During this window, he is functionally immortal. His fight with Kashimo is legendary because of how Hikari survived. When Kashimo dumped him in the ocean and used his electrical trait to create deadly chlorine gas, Hikari's automatic healing simply outpaced the toxin. Later, when Kashimo fired a lightning bolt directly into his head to instantly blow up his brain, Hikari expelled the lightning's cursed energy out of his nose at the exact last millisecond, mitigating just enough damage to let his brain heal. You simply cannot outlast Hikari when he's on a roll. Taking the bronze at number 3 is Maki Zenin. Technically, the Culling game barriers did not even recognize her as a player because she possesses 0 cursed energy. After utterly eradicating the Zenin clan right before the games began, Maki entered the Sakurajima colony fully realized, becoming the second coming of Toji Fushiguro. She perceives the souls of inanimate objects, allowing her to cut through anything with the split-soul katana. Her defining Culling game moment was facing the vengeful cursed spirit form of Naoya Zenin. Despite Naoya reaching Mach 3 speeds and trapping her allies in a highly lethal domain expansion, Maki bypassed his domain entirely. Because domains treat beings with no cursed energy like buildings or rocks, the sure hit effect could not target her. She simply walked right into the barrier and brutally exorcised him. She is an invisible, unstoppable assassin. The runner-up at number 2 is the special grade prodigy, Yuta Okotsu. Yuta single-handedly destabilized the Sendai colony, fighting 4 incredibly powerful opponents back-to-back. His curse technique, Copy, allows him to use other people's techniques, which he stores within Rika. He has massive cursed energy reserves, outputs positive energy to heal others or kill cursed spirits, and can fully manifest Rika to overwhelm enemies. During Sendai, he used Inumaki's cursed speech, Druv's Shikigami, and Uro's sky manipulation to win the free-for-all. His tactical mind, combined with his raw power and the utility of his domain expansion, Authentic Mutual Love, makes him arguably the strongest modern sorcerer besides Gojo. And taking the number 1 spot is, without question, the King of Curses, Ryomen Sukuna. Operating as a player after taking over Megumi's body, Sukuna turned the Culling games into his own personal playground. He easily dispatched Ryu, toyed with Yorozu to crush Megumi's soul, and later utilized the 10 Shadows, specifically Maharaga, to adapt to and defeat Satoru Gojo. Sukuna's mastery of Jujutsu is unmatched. His domain expansion, Malevolent Shrine, is a divine, barrierless meat grinder. His cursed energy reserves are double that of Yuta's, and his efficiency is near perfect. He systematically dismantled the strongest players the Culling games had to offer. He wasn't just playing the game, he was ending it. And there you have it, the definitive ranking of the top 19 players of the Culling games. Kenjaku's twisted ritual definitely delivered on its promise of absolute chaos and incredible battles. What do you think of the top tier? Did I place your favorite sorcerer too low? Or is the King of Curses exactly where he belongs? Let me know down in the comments, and if you made it this far, consider subscribing for more character scaling and Jujutsu Kaisen breakdowns. Until next time, keep your cursed energy flowing.